This is the Gridiron Club at Mississippi State in Davis-Wade Stadium. I'm Bob Carskadden, and I'm here with Mississippi State's 17th Athletic Director, John Cohen. Are you used to that title yet?
You know what?
Coach.
I like John a whole lot, so I think folks are making that adjustment for me.
Well, good. I like that. So we got a lot of things to talk about. Let's start with just sort of the immediate, you're taking the job. What are some of your quick, soon, immediate priorities and goals and things you want to accomplish in the near future at Mississippi State?
Well, my respect for Scott Strickland deepens more than you could ever know, because there are a lot of, literally, there are a lot of things going on at one time. And I think being the athletic director, I mentioned this to a lot of different people. As a baseball coach at Mississippi State in the Southeastern Conference, you have a checklist, and that checklist is lengthy and it works chronologically. When you're an athletic director, that checklist gets a little bit longer, and it has some different parameters to it. But I'm having a great experience with this. Being around Mississippi State people every single day is really a thrill for me.
I like that. So you mentioned the transition, obviously, from baseball coach to athletic director. There are a lot of things I see, especially from having been around you while at Mississippi State, that probably translate well. You've certainly had an eye for personnel and talent. When you look at some of these top recruiting classes and guys going to the big leagues, when you look at the number of assistants under you who have gone on to become head coaches, those are a few of the things that stand out. But for you, what sort of talents and skills do you take from being a baseball coach that apply to being an athletic director?
Well, obviously, the relationships you have with people are really important, and how you conduct yourself. I think when you're a head coach in the Southeastern Conference, I don't care what sport you're in, you have to be able to communicate in order to be successful. And certainly, you have to be creative at Mississippi State. I think you have to constantly look for a better way to do things. And I'll tell you something, that's something I really enjoy, is the opportunity to constantly observe what's going on and how we can make those things better.
The last few days I've heard from Ben Howland, Vic Schaefer, and Dan Mullen as they're in their seasons, talking about how excited they are to have someone who's been a coach as their athletic director. What are some of the things that maybe you can relate on that are harder for other people on the outside to understand who haven't coached before?
Well, there are some differences, but I tell you, I've been speaking to our teams and our coaches, and I look in the eyes of our student athletes at Mississippi State, and I say, all of us have something in common. And they looked at me really strangely. I said, what we have in common is I was a student athlete at Mississippi State just like you are. The difference is the expectations, the parameters, the social media, the work that you have to put into it is a lot different than when I was a student athlete at Mississippi State. It's a much different world that they live in and have to compete in. Not to mention the fact the SEC had 10 schools when I was in it. A couple of schools have joined the fray here, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Arkansas, Missouri. I mean, it's really changed the nature of competition in our league. But the opportunity to work with our coaches on a daily basis is a lot of fun. It's different than being locked in with your team for an entire day. So you're dealing with a large group of people. They're just different people. And you're dealing with really a combination of kids and adults, whereas when you're head coach, you're really just dealing specifically with the recruiting part of it and the 18 to 22-year-olds that you're coaching.
So you mentioned how quickly things happen for you. Obviously, have already hired a new baseball coach. Search for a new soccer coach is underway. I'll ask this question. What is sort of the maybe the blueprint you look for, or you have built or in mind for new head coaches and people to lead the programs at Mississippi State?
Well, there are a couple characteristics that are important to me. A knowledge and understanding of the Southeastern Conference is important to me, because certainly this is the premier league in America in almost every single sport. And that's such a, I know we say that a lot, but when you're around other sports and you start studying other sports, as I have in recent times, it's obvious how good our league. When you watch a volleyball team, our volleyball team competed their tails off against a really good Florida team the other day. You go, this is the big leagues of college volleyball. And then you watch our women's basketball team play, and then you watch our men's basketball team play. It's a very high level. And so you realize that part of it, and you realize how competitive things are. You want to help everyone to get better, and you want to make Mississippi State a top-tier athletic department. I think Scott Strickland and Greg Byrne and Larry Templeton before did a great job of moving Mississippi State in a positive direction, and I want to keep us moving in that direction.
So before I let you go, I know obviously you do have a busy schedule. I'll ask this question. I want to know more about John Cohen, the person. You got a very busy schedule as far as work goes, but what do you do in your free time? And obviously you got a wife, you've got 2 daughters, you have a whole family of dogs, as I understand it.
We do. My wife has really invested a lot in in dogs that that are runaways or kennel dogs, and she loves that part. My daughters are bi-coastal right now. We have one in Virginia and one in California. Man, that's the worst recruiting job ever. I couldn't get them to come to Mississippi State, and they both said, "Dad, I would have considered it if you weren't here." So I'm the one who, was the deterrent. But certainly, our family is really close. I still have a ton of family in Tuscaloosa, and we just agree to disagree about certain things in intercollegiate athletics. But what an incredible opportunity this is for me. And that word is incredibly important to me. Is just the word opportunity, because every day is a new opportunity, and I want our student athletes and our coaches to treat it that way.
I like it. All right. Well, John Cohen, the man formerly known as Coach Cohen as well, we appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.